You saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. Let's get into today's tutorial and review. So I just did my base and my brows off camera. Primer, eye primer, foundation, concealer, powder, eyebrows, and then I also did a creamy white shade all over the lids. And now I'm gonna play with the Blue Raspberry palette first. This was the one that I was most excited about, so let's get into it. The first shade that I'm gonna dip into is Blue Raspberry, the second darkest matte on the bottom. Taking that on a fluffy brush and packing that right in the crease. To diffuse that, I'm gonna take the shade Polar Bear, which is the second darkest shade on the top row, and then that will soften that out. And then to do the outer edge, I'm gonna take the shade Frozenated, which is that super pastel blue at the top, and then that's going to make that super duper soft on the edges. I'm also gonna take that same shade and go into the inner corner here, connect it to the front of the eyebrow, and then sweep it across into that darker blue. Now I'm gonna use the shade Melted, which is the very darkest blue matte in the palette, on a small domey crease brush, and I'm gonna pop that right in the crease, stopping halfway into my eye. Taking it out into the medium and lighter blues so that it all blends. So far these are working pretty well. Historically, I would say blue eyeshadow has been kind of a tricky color for me. I'm not sure if it's a hard color to make. I know purple eyeshadows sometimes can be a little bit challenging, but I mean, it's blending out nicely. It just might take a little bit more work than like a typical brown or gray eyeshadow. Something about brighter pigments, it just takes a little bit more finessing, but it's beautiful. So for this look, I want to have a really dark, intense under eye on both sides because we're actually going to be playing with some white mascara. So I'm going to take the color that I just used right now, Melted, this time on a really precise flat packer brush, super tiny. This is the Zoeva 238, and I'm going to pack that right on my outer corner and wrap a little bit underneath and bring it all the way in to the inner corner. So I'm going to start on the outer corner and start packing really gently, connecting it to the outer portion of the crease here and dragging it in. And you don't have to drag it all the way in because I am going to play with some of the shimmers right on top of this. So really the outer edge is the most important part with this step. Okay, so I changed my mind. I like how dark that is on the outer corner. But to start the entire lower lash line, I'm going to go in with the very first color we used called Blue Raspberry on that same Zoeva brush. And I'm going to use this lighter one instead, and then we'll darken it up with Melted here in a little bit. So taking that brush and literally gonna go all the way from the inner corner out. Why does my light go out like this? And don't worry about blending at all for this part. I'm kind of just putting on a shape. Still on the same brush, going back in with Melted, and I'm going to use this about on the outer half on the lower lash line and then connect it with the outer V. Yeah, stopping that darker shade right about in the middle so it blends into the lighter one. And then we'll connect it out here. On a clean, fluffy brush, I'm gonna scratch the edges of this lower lash line here, and then we might add in a little bit of a lighter blue to further blend it out, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna go in with Polar Bear now on the same brush, just a super tiny amount. This is gonna be very subtle, but it'll have a little bit of an impact. Just kind of blend out these edges a little bit more with the lighter blue. Alright, so now taking a black eyeshadow on a thin brush, I'm going to line the upper and lower lash lines, really making sure that tight to the waterline, it's very black because we're going to do a white in the waterline, which will really help it contrast. Okay, really excited for this step because we have a lot of pretty shimmers in here and I don't know which one to do. What else is new? I think I'm really liking for right now Frost, which is kind of just a mid-tone blue, medium depth, kind of just right in the middle. I think it'll be really good for just on the lid. And then we will play with something a little bit lighter for the inner corner. So I have the shade Frost on my ring finger and I'm going to press that right on the lid. I love this. Oh my gosh, yes. Now on my pinky, I'm gonna use the shade Chillin', which is this really pretty like aqua blue. And that's gonna go right on the inner corner. And then we might take something even a little bit brighter, like a white, for the inner corner. So just really pressing that in here, diffusing it into that darker blue shimmer, and stopping at the inner corner. Okay, I wish the blue raspberry palette had like a really icy white to kind of represent like the ice in an Icee, but there isn't one. So I'm gonna take a white shimmer eyeshadow from another palette that I have, and I'm gonna put that on the inner corner. So now I'm gonna take this Maybelline Tattoo Studio Gel Eyeliner in the shade Polished White, and I'm going to line the waterline, being really careful that no black or blue gets in there. So now that that white liner is in there, you can really see how that just kind of opened up the eye and really brightened it up. And now for the really fun part, I'm gonna take this white liquid lipstick from Be Perfect Cosmetics. And this is the Supreme Velvet Liquid Lipstick in the shade Snow. And I'm gonna take it on a really small fan brush that I got from an art supply store. And I'm gonna paint it right on my lower lashes to give the effect of snow or icicles. Just like that. And you can see why below here it was really important for that to be dark so that the white would pop against that. If I just did it against my bare pale skin, it wouldn't have the same effect. And I'm gonna let this completely dry before I move on to any black mascara, because if I do the black mascara and this is still wet and I blink, it'll kind of mix up and ruin the entire effect. I'm gonna do a thin coat of my favorite Clinique Lash Fit, Clinique Fit mascara, and then I'll pop on my lashes, or lash I should say, and then we'll move on to the other eye and other palette. All right, so here is the blue raspberry eye completed. I'm really satisfied with this color story going on my eye. The white lashes are really different. I've never done something like this before, but I really like it. It's unique. It adds kind of something to the look. It kind of brings in the theme a little bit. And so yay, I'm loving this. So now it's time to play with the Cherry palette. We're gonna kind of do like a full 180 in terms of colors. We're gonna go from a really cold blue to super hot red. So from here, the first color I want to dive into is called Smile. It is a pinkened red, so it's not quite a true red. It's not an orange red. It's kind of a more blue pink based red. I'm gonna take that on a fluffy crease brush and put it right in the crease. You guessed it. To help blend out that pinky red, I'm gonna go in with the shade at the top called Epic, which is just like a straight up melon pink. Blending pinks and reds into the skin is a little bit challenging. I might have to go back in with that cream color that I laid down first as kind of like a base for the rest of the shadows, just to kind of erase under the arch of the brow and everything. Yeah, I'm gonna take a white eyeshadow on a small detail brush. I'm gonna pop it right under the brow just to bring back some softness. There we go. Now I'm gonna take the shade Sweet, which is that really matte dark red in that lower corner. I'm gonna take it on a small dummy crease brush and put it in the crease. Same color on that Zoeva 238 that we used earlier. I'm gonna pack it on the outer corner again. I'm gonna do the same shape that we did with the blue so that the shapes match, but the colors will be in contrast. Okay, so this is the first shade that I'm having a little bit of issues with. You can see that I have the dark shade all in the crease and then wrapping around to the outer V. It's a little bit patchy. Right here is really, really dark. And then no matter how much I build it up, this part right here is a little bit patchy. It's a little bit see-through. So I might just have to keep packing and pray a little bit. But once the lash is on and everything, it'll be disguised. All right, so for the lower lash line, I'm gonna go in with the shade Cherry. No, Wild Cherry, which is that true bright red. And then same as we did on the lower lash line for the blue, I'm gonna take that same Zoeva brush. Ooh, look how bright red that looks on the camera. Ooh, it better look that bright on my face. I'm gonna pack that right on the inner corner all the way to the outer corner. Oh yeah. Oh, little bit of fallout, which is fine. I put a lot on the brush. Now I'm gonna take the shade Treat, which is the second darkest matte in the palette at the bottom. I'm gonna take that on the outer half of the eye on the lower lash line. Okay, that wasn't really giving me enough depth, so I am gonna go back in with Sweet. And make sure that we're connecting that outer corner. Just like that. Going back in with Epic, which is that light pink that we used up here, and I'm going to diffuse the edges down here a little bit. Now it's time to line again with that black eyeshadow, pushing it into the lashes, really maximizing the lid space. If you have massive eyelids, I hate you. And you can do regular eyeliner, but if you're like me and you don't have a lot to work with, this is the best way in my opinion. And the lower. I don't think I can get away with that black right next to the bright red, so I'm gonna go back in with Sweet and just diffuse that black into that bright red just a little bit. That's better. For shimmer, I'm not sure if I want to do one of the dark ones for the outer corner or if I should just do like these mid-tone ones by my pinky at the bottom. I'm gonna go in with the shade Fruity, which is the middle one by my pinky. Got that on my ring finger and I'm gonna tap it right on the lid. This one doesn't quite have the same punch as the blue, like it's not immediate. You will have to build it up a little bit, which is fine. I'm gonna amp this up a little bit with the shade Colorful Tongue, and I'm gonna put it right over top. Yeah, that's kicking it up pretty nicely. And I definitely have to do White Cherry for the inner corner. Oh my gosh, yes. Diffuse it into that darker red and pink. Oh yeah, yep. All right, so now it's time for that white in the waterline. Now it's time for those white lower lashes. Now that that is all dry, we'll do the Clinique mascara. And the other lash. The eyes are now complete and it's time for the face. So for blush, I'm gonna do my favorite blush actually ever. This is the Wanderlust blush from Buxom in the shade Ibiza. It's just a really pretty true bubblegum pink and I think it's gonna go great with the eyes. Hitting both cheeks, a little bit on the nose. I'm actually gonna do a little bit more on the nose than I normally would, just to kind of make it look like I'm cold, I got brain freeze, and it's really showing on my face. Nars Laguna for the bronzer, tapping it instead of stroking back and forth. And then just a smidge under that blush on the cheeks, a little on the chin. Taking an icy white highlighter down the bridge of the nose, and a lot of it on the tip there. A little on the chin, a little on the cupid's bow, and on the cheekbones. And then the Fenty Diamond Bomb and How Many Carats. And I'm gonna be really generous with this. Cheekbones, chin, I mean, pretty much everywhere. I want this to be like a winter wonderland on my face. Some on the inner corners too. So in this collection, they launched 3 glosses. They have a really sheer blue, which honestly, I swatched earlier. It's kind of just a clear gloss with like a suggestion of a hint of blue. So it's super cute for every single day. And then they also came out with Cola, which is like a copper brown, which I love, but I don't think it's gonna go with this look. And then there's also this really sheer red, which I have to do. So I'm gonna take this Urban Decay lipstick. It was part of the Marvels collection, the color Agility, but any red lipstick will do. I'm gonna take this and pat it just on the center of the lips and do a little bit of an ombre, and then we're gonna add that gloss. Alright, so here is the completed makeup look. I'm gonna throw on some hair and then I will tell you my final thoughts. And here is the finished look. I'm not shocked. I like this collection. I like both palettes a lot. I like the glosses. If I had to choose one item, it probably would be the Blue Raspberry palette. The Cherry palette performed pretty well. I don't know, something about it. I mean, a couple of the shades were a little bit patchy. I know reds can be hard to make, but the blue one was just super easy to work with, really buttery, typical Glamlite formula. The glosses, you don't need them. They're really comfortable, they're not sticky, they smell pretty good, but in terms of color selection, I don't really think they're that special. I wish they were sold individually because I love the shade Cola. But yeah, overall, this is a really cute collection. I'm really glad that it got me excited. I feel like I haven't been excited by collections and launches this holiday season, but this one really caught my attention. I thought it was super cute, so I had to pick it up and try it out. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. I have a lot more coming. Bye.